see you in the land of Mordor. Death awaits you at the border. Pass on through the gates of fun. Destroy the ring of power and wonder.
Hi, welcome to another video about the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game, courtesy of Games Workshop, and I'm your host, Roman Dasel. Today I'm going to be talking about this box set called The Fog on the Barrow Downs. It's one of the rarer sets to find, as they have yet to re-release it. And it's a really cool set. I bought this off eBay for $72 plus taxes. Anyway, for those who've never read the book, this is one chapter in the book called The Fog on the Barrow Downs. You will not see this in the movie. It's one of the things I wish Peter Jackson had added in the movie, but he could not for pacing reasons and because the movie's already damn too long. It would have been really cool had Peter Jackson released his theatrical version, as is, and then gone back and made a huge extended version of the movie and added all the elements that were left out of the theatrical version. That would have been really cool. But anyway, let's get in with the box set. 10 models. They're all metal, so they're actually quite heavy. They are. And you get the four hobbits. Now the hobbits are all dressed in white ceremonial robes with little crowns on top of their heads and golden belts. They're supposed to be like a shield at their feet and little daggers on their sides. Also, there should be a long sword cutting across 3 of their necks, but it's just not there. Then also you get 4 Barrow-wights. I'll get into Barrow-wights in just a minute. Now there's 4 of them. You get 2 basic poses, and I colored mine 2 different ways. First, I want to do the dark color, because there are many in the area. And the one you see is all just a dark shadow in the gloomy light and the fog. And the other one you see, you don't even see it, you just see the arm. You see an arm of a Barrow-wight creeping towards the hilt of the sword that's laying across the neck of 3 of the hobbits. And there's a green ghastly glow in the chamber that they're in. Because a barrow is a tomb. And the Barrow Downs are just east of the Old Forest and south of Bree. And they're called the Barrow Downs, and there's a whole bunch of tombs there. I'll get into that in just a minute. The other 2 models are Tom Bombadil and his wife Goldenberry. Now I painted them close to what the book says. Tom Bombadil is the master of his own country, just east of the Old Forest and a little south of the Barrow Downs, and they all tie in together. Now, if you've read the book, then you know that Frodo just doesn't pick up and leave Bag End in a rush. It takes him 17 years from the time he's been warned by Gandalf to finally decide to head to pick up and go. And he doesn't just move away. He sells his Bag End to the Sackville Bagginses, and he moves to Crickhollow in Buckland, which is on the eastern side of the... supposedly because he ran out of money and he wants to live with his relatives. Something like that. That's the reason he gives, but really he's trying to sneak out of the Shire. And this place called Crickhollow is right next to the Old Forest. Now the Old Forest is kind of like Fangorn without the Ents. So it's got a lot of queer creatures, trees that move, and things that don't like people that walk around on 2 legs. So they're going to try and sneak across the Old Forest, because if they went by road, they would have to cross the bridge and the gatekeepers at the edge of the Shire, and there would be questions asked. So what they're doing is they're going to cut across the Old Forest and hit Bree from the south, except for they get trapped by Old Man Willow. And while Old Man Willow is squeezing the hell out of Merry and Pippin, Frodo starts screaming out the top of his head, and Tom Bombadil comes stomping along singing a song, just out of the blue. Just coincidental. So Tom Bombadil helps him out because he is more powerful than Old Man Willow, and that's when you meet him. Tom Bombadil takes him to his house, and there they meet his wife Goldenberry. Tom Bombadil is what you would call a lesser angel. He's a Maiar, but he's a powerful one. He has been in that area since time began. And his wife Goldenberry, she is also a lesser angel of the spirit of the water. She is also a lesser Maiar. Not as powerful as Tom Bombadil, but still powerful in her own right. Now, Tom Bombadil has his own country, has his own set of bounds that no one else can see, and he is master of everything inside. During that chapter, when you meet him, he does put the Ring of Power on, and nothing happens. The ring has no power over him. It cannot corrupt him. So Peter Jackson kind of left that part out because he's made this ring to be all powerful, but then you have someone who can't be corrupted by it. In that, it didn't make sense for the story. So that was one reason to ditch it. So anyway, the hobbits spend 2 nights at Tom Bombadil's house, and then on the morning, they leave, and they're heading for Bree. Now Tom Bombadil follows them for a bit, but then he warns them about the Barrow-wights and the Barrow Downs. Like I said before, the Barrow Downs are a series of tombs, and these tombs hold the bodies of 8 kings of Arnor and all the kings of Cardolan, which was the sister realm when Arnor split up, and it also holds the tombs of some First Age kings and Second Age kings before the Dunedain came to that area. And it's considered a very holy place. And for years, the Dunedain kept it holy. They kept it safe. But during the Third Northern War in 1409 of the Third Age, the Kingdom of Angmar, with forces from LOTR, stormed across the empty lands, besieged the Tower of Amansul, forced the Arthedanian army north to Fornost and the Cardellani army into the Barrow Downs, and destroyed the Tower of Amansul. While the Cardellani were taking shelter in the Barrow Downs, the Angmaran army came down upon them. An army of orcs came down upon them at night and defeated them again. So the last king of Cardolan, in one book I have, says he was a bastard son, so he wasn't a full-blooded heir of Isildur. He fell in that battle, and is buried in the Barrow Downs. So what happened is, evil spirits of men who had gave their soul to Sauron, ritually sacrificed, had their spirits transformed, and they went to the Barrow Downs and they inhabited these tombs. Why? To break down the spirit. It's very demoralizing that you can't even keep your own tombs safe. And a lot of these tombs have weapons that are magical, and that they have the bane of Sauron or the bane of Angmar. Weapons that could seriously hurt evil creatures like the Barrow-wights. So the Barrow-wights are there to guard the very weapons that would kill them. So these Barrow-wights, they inhabit the tombs, they take on the shape and form of the person inside the tomb, and they can use the weapons and armor as well, supposedly. So there are probably about 30 great tombs and about 60 or 70 lesser tombs scattered around the area. Now the hobbits, because they're stupid and didn't go all the way through during daylight, they stopped and took a nap and have something to eat. Being hobbits, they got stuck in a fog when it was getting dark, and that's where things went wrong. The hobbits were captured by one Barrow-wight. Frodo was the one that woke up from his trance, saw the arm of the Barrow-wight creeping towards the sword. He leaps up, grabs a sword to him really, lying by, and he hacks the hand off the arm of the Barrow-wight. The lights go out, the Barrow-wight is hissing, and Frodo starts singing the Tom Bombadil song again, and Tom Bombadil shows up out of nowhere and manages to rescue the hobbits again. He wakes up the hobbits, he goes back in, he then chases the Barrow-wight out, so basically destroys it, sends it packing, and he brings out the entire treasure in a couple of trips, and spreads it across the ground, because that's the only way to break the curse of a Barrow-wight, is to scatter the treasure for whoever finds it. Because if you were to gather and hoard the treasure, then you will become a Barrow-wight yourself. So the hobbits, they pick up their own little daggers, which is interesting because Frodo uses his dagger to slash the cloak of the Witch King on Amansul when he meets the Nazgul. Merry uses his to stab just below the knee of the Witch King in the Battle of Pelennor Fields. So he helps break the unseen sinews of the Witch King, so that Eowyn can then take her sword and drive it through his head and kill the Witch King. So these swords have written runes of power designed to kill. They were wrought by the Dunedain of old. So that's why it's important. It's much better story than having Aragorn pass out swords in Bree, kind of like a Monty Python skit. Some moistened bint had lobbed a scimitar at me, they locked me away. That's kind of what I was thinking when I saw the movie. So I would rather have seen the Barrow-wight scene, because it is the first, after the Black Riders, it is the next really evil creatures you find. So that's the backstory behind that. It's a long one. I encourage anyone to read the book. And as far as gaming goes, this is a cool scenario, but it's not great. It's cool. It's not great. The Barrow-wights you can use in other scenarios as undead warriors. The hobbits, because they just lie there, they're not really important. Tom Bombadil, there's really not much to him because there's no stats for him. Him and Goldenberry do not have any stats. The Barrow-wights themselves have a point value of 50. They fight at a 3, they have a strength of 2, defense of 7, they attack at 1, and they have a wound of 1. Their courage is 6, and they also have a will of 5. Now they move around at 6, they can paralyze victims in a 6-inch radius. They basically drain your will, is what they do, and then sacrifice you. So they're mostly used, you can use them in an undead army, but as a standalone scenario, kind of like a role-playing game, not a strategy battle game. They're very good at that. That's what I would use them for. Anyway, that's the Fog on the Barrow Downs. Let me know what you think in the comments box. Click like if you like. If not, anyway, this is one part of my collection that I'm bringing out, and I'm going to bring out more and more and more. I'm still painting stuff. I got lots of stuff on the go. Until next time, Roman Daisel, see ya.
Shadows increasing, peace throughout the land, they ceasing, evil mist flows through the valley, silence.